from the Ticats Audio Network. This is Ticats Today with Louie Butko.
Yes, it is Ticats Today for a Friday, December the 9th, 2022. Thanks for checking us out on the Ticats Audio Network. Louie Butko here with you, as always. And I want to get right to my guest, as I'm very pleased to be joined by Ticats TV, Stavros Katsantonis. And Stavros, it's always great to connect with you, man. We don't get to do this too often. For as often as we get to see each other at practice, after practice, we don't just get to chat. So thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, no problem. I'm super excited to, be on your show today. I always keep in touch with you during the season. So it's cool to finally make this all come together today on the show.
I know you are a podcast show host yourself. You launched that this year. That was pretty cool because you don't often get the perspective of players, and you get to see what the Kelsey brothers are doing with their show down in the NFL. What was the desire to kind of launch your own thing?
Yeah, I guess I've always wanted to do something along the podcast, or even I was vlogging back during my CFL Combine experience. So I think I've always had a little bit of that content creation inside of me, and just finally this year, not being in a COVID year and finally being able to just kind of have my thoughts laid out easily on the table. I was like, you know what, I really want to do this, and was able to, partner with the Persevere Network, which is doing amazing things for Canadian football in Canada. So a huge shout out to them. But yeah, I just was like, I want to put this on paper and finally just jump off the cliff and do it. So finally I was able to just, put that thing together. And it was just an awesome experience kind of doing it this season. I didn't have any guests on this year. Maybe I'll have some of my teammates on next year. That's kind of something that, I was opening up to. But yeah, just giving that kind of behind the scenes, quote unquote, behind the visor type look, is something that obviously you see it down in the NFL, and guys in the US and the NBA, MLB guys are doing those, their own shows that are pro athletes and just kind of just sharing their experiences. And it's something that hasn't really been introduced in the CFL yet. So I was excited to kind of be one of the, first premier guys, just sharing kind of how the season goes, sharing cool, just different historical stuff that I got to learn, just about the Ticats in general. And then just obviously sharing those player stats, big plays and stuff like that. So it's super fun, and I'm super excited to do it again next season.
I don't want you to sell yourself short here, because I particularly remember draft night 2020. You live streamed your own draft. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember, talk about content team. We got a great content team here with, Sophie, who's no longer with the organization, but Corey and Zach and all those guys. We were in a group text being like, wait, is this guy live streaming his own draft night? That's something you did. So don't sell yourself short, man. You've been doing this a while.
Yeah. I actually forgot about that. Yes, I did stream that. And that was on the early days of streaming, where I kind of just didn't really even have a grasp on how to do it. Got my mom's camera, had my dad's computer running, and just somehow made it all work. And then before I knew it, I had, thousands of people were watching it, saying, hey, watching from here in the USA, wasn't able to get the stream. Thanks for doing this. And I even had a few people, I think Mason Bennett was one of the guys that was watching from my draft. I think there's a few other people and coaches and staff. I even think after I got drafted, one of the Ticats football ops guys said, hey, we had, a bunch of guys down in the States that were able to watch the draft through your stream. So, really appreciate it. So yeah, I was excited to build on that. And I did it the next year and did more of a commentary on it. And then in 2021, I didn't do it. And I had so many people messaging me, hey, why aren't you doing the draft this year? So maybe 2023 is the year to pick it back up. I think I may be doing it again.
Well, as somebody who was doing, as someone who was going head to head with you, who was doing his own live show on the Ticats Facebook, thanks for taking away some of my viewers. I appreciate that, man.
Maybe we can partner up this year, do something crazy. So
I love it. I love it. Well, speaking about this year, it didn't end the way you wanted it to, and we're talking about that year where you kind of launched and you did your own thing. You came into this league at such a strange time, and to have this last year that was quote unquote normal, where you got to be in the same room as your teammates. You got to be in the locker room at the same time. How did this year feel differently for you, and how did it help you develop as a player, knowing that first year in the league was just so abnormal?
Right. Yeah. I think in that first year, there was just so much flying at me, with one being a rookie and two, it being just like you say, such an abnormal year with COVID. So just in this year alone, just to have that I guess peace of mind that, I mean, yes, COVID is still out there, but, on a lesser scale, because, everyone's vaccinated out there and, things are changing. The world's getting back to a little bit of normalcy, but just to be able to be in a full team meeting, I think was something that I didn't understand and I didn't really value in 2021 because I'm sitting with eight other of my DB teammates and we're spread out across one room, and then that's each position group is doing that, and then we're meeting through Zoom. So just to be able to all be in a team meeting setting, with 40, 50 guys, and just be able to bond in that way, and then obviously be in the locker room without having to be masked up and supposed to be keeping our distance like we were in 2021. I think that just added camaraderie that you find, across each team in each league, right? That's the thing that keeps teams, together, keeps them going, is that team bond. So to be able to do stuff like that, I think even towards the end of the season, like we were going on team golf karting experiences with, not even just position group guys. It was like me, Ted Laurent, Richard Leonard, Keandre Smith, like just such a intermixed group, Cam Kelly. So it was just things like that you don't really notice in a COVID year, especially it being a rookie year where you don't know what to expect or what a normal season is even supposed to look like. So to have things like that just really they really go, off the field and on the field, it really goes a long way, just from my perspective in that end.
Well, and your perspective is interesting because, I mean, you got thrown in some big moments in that rookie year. You got thrown in some big moments in this season. And when you have a DB room as talented as you've had the last 2 years, I think there's an expectation that, your moment's going to come. But you have been asked in big moments to step up. How has being around the group of guys that you have, learning from the Richard Leonards, the Tunde Adelekes? I mean, we've talked about just how dangerous that DB group is. How has being around that experience helped you become the player that you are and build towards the player you want to be?
Right. Yeah. I think I was just so fortunate coming in 2021 with guys like, Mike Daly, veteran guys, like you say, Tunde Adeleke, Kirill Brooks, Jamal Roll. I mean, I'm naming like all-star after all-star here, and it's crazy. And I don't think you get that on every single CFL team where you're coming in and you have like literally across the board, everyone's been an all-star in the past, 2 to 3 years. So guys like that really helped me. And then even my first year with having, Coach Butts, Craig Butler, as a DB coach. And then you have our D coordinator, Coach Washington. He's a former DB. And then Coach Orlando, he's a former DB. So you just have these differing experience level guys that, have done it, right? Have gotten the all-stars, have gotten all the accolades and have been through the rookie, rookieisms in a way. And just to have guys like that just, help mold me in a first year. Like we say, it's hard to keep saying, but 2021 was such a crazy year to be a rookie. Like guys across any class, I can't imagine to go through that. And then I'm not the only guy that has been thrown into games, I'm sure, but I'm just fortunate enough to be successful because of the guys that I've had around me. Especially with guys like Mike Daly, Tunde. Those guys really helped me just in training camp develop, in a different way, in a fast way that you got to learn quickly because you only have 2 or 3 weeks of training camp, and then it's there's no more being a rookie because you got to get in and to say it in small words, the franchise is counting on you. So I think I always took that. I think Brooks said that to me one time. Early in the season before I even had played a game. So every time I had gotten in, I always had that in the back of my mind, like, okay, the whole franchise and fan base is counting on me to do my job and perform. So I just took that out there. And like I said, I had a great group of guys around me to really help me through that.
Well, let's talk. I mean, as talented as the DBs are, the wide receivers on this team have always been a point of emphasis and strength. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, let's talk about that quick because I mean, when you get to go up against, when you're playing scout team, and you're going up against Stephen Dunbar and Tim White and Braylon Addison. Right. I mean, how do those guys make you better in practice? And what's that relationship, DB wide receiver, like season to season?
Yeah, definitely. No, those guys are a huge help because you don't really get that full go pace until you get to game day. But when you have guys like you say, like Speedy B, that's, as a kid, Speedy B went to the junior college in my city. So, growing up, I'd heard about him and then, kind of followed his path to the NFL. And then one day, randomly, I was in my dad's restaurant and we turned on a CFL game and it happened to be, I think it was the Eastern Final versus Montreal. and all of a sudden I see Brandon Banks taking it down the sideline for a punt return touchdown. So to kind of bring it full circle with that, and he was my locker mate last year, and cover guys like that. It's just like it's crazy just be in that moment to, you're going against probably a CFL Hall of Famer in Brandon Banks, and to cover a guy that's his literal name is Speedy B. He's one of the fastest dudes in the CFL. Even at his age, I don't care what anyone says. But guys like that, Tim White, who probably could be one of the fastest guys in the CFL now. Crazy speed. I remember covering him like the first couple plays in training camp last year in the summer, and I was like, okay, this guy is, next level fast. So to go against guys like that, Braylon Addison, a thing I really wanted to emphasize this year was just putting myself in more man coverage to always, just getting better at different things as a defensive back. So I would go out and play corner, and almost 9 times out of 10 times I would be covering Stephen Dunbar. So just working against a guy like that who is one of the best in the game, at his craft, from just route running, getting you off double moves, and then not to mention he's a big body receiver with a huge catch radius. Is just an honor to go against those guys, but it's a huge help from a practice standpoint to just develop my craft even more.
And I mean, the one thing about Steve is he's the first one out there. He's the last one out there, right? I mean, he is on that jug machine. And for any young player to get to watch Stephen Dunbar Jr. work, it's hard not to be pushed by that level of work ethic. And I know a lot of guys have talked about that. What did you learn about last off season? Again, I mean, abnormal year, but it didn't end the way you wanted it to. And it was your first off season. So what did you learn last year that you're hoping to apply to the next few months here going into 2023?
Yeah, definitely. So I learned last offseason that it's a short offseason. Unfortunately, I tore my bicep in the Grey Cup game. So that was a immediate kind of addressing point that I had to, all right, I couldn't jump into treatment right away because they wanted to let it kind of, get down a little bit, get the swelling out of there. And then I had to jump into physiotherapy for about, 6 to 8 weeks starting in January. So already I think I was kind of a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of training, because I couldn't really do any upper body training. So, come February, I start, getting into training again. And then before I knew it, it was, all right, book your flight, get ready to come out here. So, not to say that I felt like I was behind it all once I got to training camp. I think I was ready. I put on a little bit of weight, it's about 195 pounds coming in training camp. So wasn't really worried on that end. But just now, just to be able to have a full off season and not be, not have any crazy injuries or ailments where I can, I'm already starting training now, and we're the Grey Cup hasn't even happened when it happened last year. Right. So I already have that jump on it. So I've definitely learned that, okay, to take advantage of all your time, because even with this long off season, you can get in the mindset of, it's still so long away. I don't have to necessarily, get into training right now. It's like, no, you gotta really start pushing yourself now to prepare for next year. And especially if you want to make that Grey Cup run with the home Grey Cup, and having that experience of playing at Tim Hortons Field in front of Tim Hortons fans in a Grey Cup is an experience I'll never personally forget. But the experience I want now is to, be on the other end of that, and, just have those fans going crazy. And I envision those fans storming the field, when we lift that cup. So that's the, where the focus shifts now. But yeah, definitely have learned a lot from my first off season, just in the little bit of, okay, you got to really take advantage of the time you have, because this is only a short window of professional football that you have.
That's a great point. You never know, when your moment's going to come. And like you said, you've been put into some big moments already. And I'm sure getting this off season fully healthy, now that you are ready to go. You're also taking more off the field. You're one of 2 CFLPA player reps on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I have a feeling, a real estate guy like yourself, you always love numbers. I have a feeling that you want to know what's going on. You're a curious guy, and being a part of this and being one of the player reps, that's something that was a draw to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how we do it in our in-house is our kind of teammates vote for players and stuff like that. So I was fortunate enough to be voted, but I think a lot of the guys, like you already kind of picked out, a lot of the guys kind of know that I have kind of that drive and desire to just, I want the CFL to be as great as it possibly can, and I want it to be able to, be that number 1 or number 2 league in North America. So how do you do that? I think by, hearing your players' voices and then transitioning that to, the higher ups in the PA, and then they, their board of governors goes and meets with the CFL. And, that was just my drive to want to, I want to make sure that the players' voices are being heard. And at the same time, the CFO is growing in the right direction. So it's been a cool experience so far. I kind of got to do my first set of meetings. We did our Zoom in meetings kind of throughout the year, and then I got to go to the Grey Cup. Fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to put it, but I got to spend the week there. Have some awesome meetings, meet the rest of the PA reps from around the league, the CFLPA board of governors, and then just meet tons of CFL fans that from all over. It was crazy just to see how well each team travels. I remember going in, I think it was the Brandt Center in Regina, and just seeing, the Eastern groups all together, and then go to each team's just fan base and just see how actual big the fan bases are. And when you look back on 2021, where you didn't get to spend times with the fans, and there's questions about whether the fans are even coming to the game. I think when you go, if you were in Regina and you got to experience that and just see it, I think you can see, wow, we have such a great league, on our hands and in front of us, and the abilities we have to grow it with social media, all the different marketing opportunities. I think that's a lot of the reason what drove me to, be in the PA. And I want to be able to be a voice for the players and see this thing go in the right direction.
And to that point, I mean, the other rep is Chris Van Zyl. And I feel like the two of you, just where you are at in your career. And obviously we all believe Chris has still got a lot in the tank. And if you watch the way he works, he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
But to get to learn from him and all the experiences that he has, because again, I mean, the locker room's a big place. The lunchroom's a big place. You don't always get these one-on-one conversations. So
right.
Getting to pick, as a young Canadian national, getting to pick the brain of somebody like Chris, I feel like it gives you a unique perspective as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think the mentorship from Chris has been huge, and I think it started way before that. Even when he was doing kind of our once a month meetings during 2020, letting us know kind of the situation of the league and stuff like that. I think that really drove me to be like, all right, wow, I'd like to learn from this guy and maybe possibly be a rep, at some point. And everything that he's handled so much. He handles a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I think a lot of people don't realize what goes into actually being a PA rep. Like, he's taken a lot off of just my plate because he just knows how to do things way faster than I do. So to be able to just learn from a guy like that and understand how to actually be a really good PA rep has just been crazy surreal, because I don't think it's like that on every team, where you have a guy that's been in the league for 13 plus years and just gets it, understands how the CBA works, and how each one has differed, since he's been in the league. So, it's been awesome to learn from Chris and even spend time with him in Regina again. He's just an awesome vet, and people, it's just cool to see it, how people recognize him, not just as a player, but just as a person as well. He's just such a great guy.
Yeah, living legend, and we're fortunate he gets to hang around with us in the black and gold. Stavros, how do you spend your off season? I heard a rumor you're a real estate agent, aren't you? You selling houses?
I did. Yeah, I did. I got my real estate license in 2020, so it's more of a side hustle.
Yeah.
Obviously, because football is it takes up a lot of my time still, even just being back. Right, you got to train, you got to make sure you're eating healthy, and then I have a beautiful wife, so I got to make sure that, when she gets home from work, that, that good dinner is ready and the house is clean. So it's a full-time job, but I do a little real estate on the side, just try to help out, any friends or family that, coming to town. And then also just learning just the ropes of real estate, because it is a great investment vehicle to be a part of, whether you're young or old. And it's, the dirt isn't going anywhere, as they say. So it was something that kind of intrigued me during 2020 when the season got canceled. It's like, okay, well, I need to find something that, kind of interests me, and kind of, the buying and selling business was something that kind of caught my eye, and I was like, all right, well, let's try this out and just see where it goes. So.
Well, I know Luke Tasker's in the real estate business too, so maybe
Okay.
we can get you and him hosting a show on the Ticats Audio Network.
We'll have to see.
Speculative real estate,
We'll
Buffalo,
have to do a
Idaho,
little.
and Hamilton. We'll find some connections between the
Yeah,
three
we'll
of
have to
them,
do
right?
the U.S. versus Canadian real estate market. Let everyone know about
That's
those
it. I mean, both you
great
guys,
American
yeah.
interest rates.
Yeah, that's it, man. Well, hey, listen, I know you're a busy guy. You got to get the house clean for Kylie, so I appreciate you making some time for me today, man. It's always great to connect with you. Can't wait to see you back in the black and gold in a few months. But thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to be back in the Hammer.
My thanks to Stavros Katsantonis for joining me today, and my thanks to you as well, as we cannot do the show without your support. So thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're back next week. We'll talk to you then. From all of us here at the Ticats Audio Network, I'm Louie Butko. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend too.